The crimson sunrise over New Terra cast long shadows across the rubble that had once been the colonial capital. Jackson stepped carefully through the debris, his combat boots crunching on shattered glass and twisted metal. The Zephyrian bombardment had ended 3 days ago, but the acrid smell of burnt polymer and worse things still hung in the air. "Jackson, over here!" Lily's voice cut through the morning silence. He turned to see her crouched beside what remained of the communications array, her engineer's toolkit already spread across the ground. Even covered in dust and grime, her determination was unmistakable. "Can you get it working?" Jackson asked, kneeling beside her. The array looked like abstract art, melted components fused into impossible shapes by the alien energy weapons. Lily's fingers danced over the wreckage with practiced precision. "The main transmitter is slag, but the backup quantum relay—" She paused, pulling out a component that somehow remained intact. This might work. The Zephyrians were thorough, but they don't understand human engineering redundancy. Jackson smiled grimly. That was humanity's edge. They built things to last, to survive, to keep functioning when everything else failed. The Galactic Council had learned to fear human ships not because they were the fastest or most powerful, but because they simply refused to die. "How long?" he asked. "Give me 6 hours. Maybe 8. Lily was already rewiring circuits, her movements quick and sure. "What's our message going to be?" Jackson stood and looked out over the devastated colony. 12,000 people had called New Terra home. Now less than 3,000 remained, scattered in the underground shelters that human paranoia had insisted on building, despite the unnecessary expense. "We tell them what the Zephyrians did," Jackson said quietly. "We tell them about the children." The Galactic Council had rules about warfare, civilized rules that prevented the targeting of civilian populations. The Zephyrians had ignored those rules completely. They had specifically targeted the schools, the hospitals, the residential sectors. They wanted to send a message about what happened to species that refused to submit to their expanding empire. They were about to learn what happened when you sent that message to humans. Lily worked through the day while Jackson organized the survivors. The underground shelters had become a small city of their own, complete with makeshift workshops where colonists stripped useful materials from the wreckage above. By evening, she had managed to establish a quantum link with the nearest human military outpost. "Terra Command, this is New Terra Colony." Jackson spoke into the jury-rigged communicator. "We have a Code Black situation." "Repeat Code Black." The response came immediately. "New Terra, this is Admiral Chen aboard the UES Retribution. We received your distress signal. Are there survivors?" "Affirmative. 3,000 civilians in underground shelters. Admiral, the Zephyrians didn't just attack us, they deliberately targeted non-combatants. Schools, hospitals, refugee centers. They made sure we watched." A long pause. When Admiral Chen spoke again, her voice was ice. "Understood, New Terra, help is coming. Hold position." What the Zephyrians didn't know, what none of the galaxy's elder races truly understood, was that humanity had never forgotten the lessons of their homeworld's bloodiest centuries. They had learned that sometimes the only way to stop a monster was to become something worse. The human fleet arrived not in days or weeks, but in hours. The Zephyrian occupation force, still celebrating their easy victory over the colony, suddenly found themselves facing a wall of human steel. The UES Retribution led a battle group of 30 ships, vessels that looked crude and angular compared to the elegant curves of Zephyrian design, but carried weapons that hit like hammers of God. Jackson and Lily watched from the shelter's main screen as the battle unfolded in orbit. The Zephyrians fought with their usual precision and tactical superiority. They should have won. They didn't. Human ships absorbed punishment that should have crippled them and kept fighting. When the Zephyrian flagship's shields failed under the relentless bombardment, Admiral Chen didn't simply destroy it. She disabled it, boarded it, and broadcast the Zephyrian commander's surrender across all frequencies. To all species of the Galactic Council, Admiral Chen's transmission reached every corner of known space. The Zephyrian Empire has chosen to wage war against human civilian populations. They believed this would demonstrate their strength. Instead, they have demonstrated something else entirely. The camera focused on the captured Zephyrian commander, his chitinous features marked by what humans had learned to recognize as absolute terror in his species, effective immediately, Every Zephyrian military installation, every Zephyrian supply depot, every Zephyrian ship will be considered a legitimate target. But we will not stop there. Admiral Chen's voice remained calm, reasonable, terrifying in its certainty. Every Zephyrian civilian transport, every Zephyrian agricultural world, every Zephyrian nursery planet, all are now military targets until they surrender unconditionally and submit to human justice. The Galactic Council erupted in outrage. This violated every principle of civilized warfare. Humanity was threatening to commit genocide. The Zephyrians chose the rules of this engagement when they targeted our children, Admiral Chen continued. We are simply playing by the rules they established. The only difference is that we are very, very good at this game. Within 72 hours, the Zephyrian Empire sued for peace. Within a week, they had submitted to human oversight of their military. Within a month, their homeworld was paying reparations to New Terra. Jackson stood in the rebuilt communication center, watching Lily calibrate the new quantum array. The colony was coming back to life, bigger and stronger than before. But more importantly, word had spread across the galaxy. Humanity was not like other species. They did not simply defend themselves. They made examples. Signals clear, Lily announced, straightening from her work. Full galactic network access restored. Jackson nodded, then activated the general broadcast channel. His message was simple and went to every inhabited world in known space. This is New Terra Colony. We're still here. We remember. And we want everyone else to remember too. When you strike human worlds, we don't just strike back. We make sure you never want to strike anyone again. In the depths of space, alien strategists revised their calculations. The humans had taught them all a lesson they would never forget. Mercy was a luxury that ended the moment you harmed their young. The galaxy had learned the hard way. They would not forget.